morning, everyone. Today is Monday, June 2nd, and this is my 6-week post-op update regarding my Roux-en-Y surgery. I apologize I didn't do a video last week. Just too much going on. It's Wisconsin here, so I was busy planting and getting caught up in laundry and just lots of stuff going on. So I didn't get around to that now, but I'll give you an update now. I am 6 weeks post-op today, and I have lost now to date 65 pounds total. Now I say total, that includes the weight that I lost prior to my surgery, which was like 35 pounds. So I think it's pretty good post-op. I think it's been about 26-ish pounds, which isn't bad if you think about it, because I had lost so much prior to the surgery. And the fact that I still have, a thyroid condition, the fact that it's cooperating at all is really a blessing. And the fact that I haven't been exercising much, I know. So I'm happy about that, and I believe when I see my doctor tomorrow, he'll be pleased as well. But I'll let you know. Hope you're all doing well. I appreciate everybody who's subscribed, and I had something that I really wanted to talk about regarding this surgery and what it's done for my head. People often refer to the head hunger theory, that they're struggling with head hunger. In other words, their mind or their body wants food, but they can't eat it, that kind of a thing. I really have had a huge epiphany in this last week regarding that whole issue. I would say to you that prior to my surgery, I would have told you people who are heavy are fat because they eat too much, or they have slow metabolisms, or whatever. I was never one, now let me qualify this, I was never one to make excuses for my obesity, okay? Oh, it's genetic, or that runs in my family. However, I've always been very compassionate toward people who struggle with weight, myself included. I did cut myself some slack, obviously, otherwise I wouldn't have let myself get that big. And I did and do have a sluggish thyroid, so the fact, it's kind of a double whammy that way. And the fact that obesity does run in my family. I always say 100 and some years ago, I would have looked like I was a nice rich person, because back then it meant if you had a little meat on your bones that you were wealthy because you could afford the food. That's not the case how it is today. Thin is in, and for me that's not really important, but health is, and that's why I chose this route, so I could lose a significant amount of weight. But if you were to ask me, did you or do you have a food addiction, I would say most undoubtedly I did. The biggest part of that being, in my brain was constantly focused on food. I remember even as a young child, always thinking about food. Now, when I had Roux-en-Y surgery, they take your stomach, which is like the size of an eggplant, and they make it to the size of a thumb. There is something that they call the neuropeptide, which is, I believe, a link to the brain and the hypothalamus that tells the brain, eat, 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 eat. Okay? That's where some of the obsessive thoughts come in. That's pretty much cut. And I believe, from what I understand, that my surgeon told me several months down the road, sometimes 7, sometimes 10 plus months, that neurological or nerve path may rewire and reroute itself, so that those thoughts and those temptations may return. The reason that we have a window of time in the first basically year, 10 months to a year, post-op, is because we are not dealing with that as much. Now, some people, especially depending upon what type of weight loss surgery you choose, where you have a duodenal switch or the band, whatever it is, that may or may not cut that. So some of you may still be struggling with those thoughts. But I, on the other hand, have been completely, undoubtedly, set free from all of that thinking. I cannot tell you what this feels like. I told my husband the other day, he's like, what's that like? I said, it is like a heroin addict one day waking up from a surgery saying, I'm no longer addicted to heroin. I can honestly tell you that the obsession that I had in my thoughts, I'd be lying in bed, what am I going to have for breakfast? It'd be 10 in the morning, what am I going to have for lunch? What am I going to have from snack, from the vending machine, or am I going to go down to this little store and get one of these? What am I going to make for dinner? It was constant. It was constantly looking for some type of stimuli, whether it meant to boost my energy. I don't know, maybe that was, self-medication because I had a low thyroid, or the overall, I just like to eat, and it makes me feel good, and it releases endorphins and whatever. I don't know what the whole reason was, but I no longer have that. I don't have that food. On the contrary, I have the complete opposite. I'm now at the phase now where it's 2 in the afternoon. Gosh, I'm feeling kind of shaky. Oh, I forgot to eat today. How weird is that? Now, I had a little taste of that right at Atkins a few years back. When you reduce the amount of carbohydrates that you consume, it really does lower your insulin levels. Insulin is the hunger hormone. Hence the reason hyperinsulinism, you see people with these big beer bellies, or these even women and men with these big guts that look like they're pregnant. That's hyperinsulinism. That means too much insulin. The body will produce insulin to counteract the carbohydrates, right? Well, eventually, if you're hyperinsulinism, ultimately your body finally figures out, stop. Let's stop the insulin because there's too much. Hyper meaning too much, hypo meaning not enough. So then it does the reverse and you become diabetic. That's why people who have those apple shapes, I think myself included, have a tendency more toward diabetes. So isn't that weird? Anybody else have this issue? I mean, literally never thinking of food. I can be caught up in doing things and all of a sudden I'm like, oh crap, I gotta drink water, or oh man, I really have to eat some food. I have to eat today. I have to eat more food today. This is mind-boggling, but it is because of that neuropeptide and because of the size of my stomach. For me, that is complete freedom. Now, you can abuse that as well. You can use the surgery to once again not take care of yourself. That is not healthy. Some people struggle with things that they can eat. Well, I can keep down Chef Boyardee, but I can't keep down the applesauce or, whatever. Make healthy choices. I'm trying as best as I can to make healthy choices, given what I can and can't eat. So, but in terms of the nature versus nurture, I never used to believe obesity was a disease. You hear that a lot, and I kind of thought, oh yeah, like alcoholism is a disease, which also runs in my family, or like gambling is a disease, which also runs in my family. But the point is that this dis-ease that I had, this food obsession, is gone in terms of the brain saying, eat, 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 eat. I no longer have that for now, and I'm riding the grace now because I'm enjoying this. I believe it probably will come back. There are days where I'll look at something. I mean, it doesn't even bother me to pass up. I made a cake for my family. Didn't even faze me to take a bite. I didn't even cross my mind to take a bite. So, to those of you who struggle with head hunger prior to surgery, maybe you pre-ops are considering surgery, I'm telling you, this is nothing short of a miracle of God. That whatever switch that was turned off in my brain. And right now I'm going to ride it and hopefully go with it for as long as I can. But because of this thing, because of my experience post-op, I can tell you now, I believe obesity is a disease. And when I speak to people, my friends who are very thin naturally, and I try to explain to them, they look at me like, oh, we don't get it, because they never had that. Conversely, if I speak to my friends who are obese, one good friend, morbidly obese, he totally got it. He's like, oh, I get it. You're free from that? I said, completely free. So freedom, what a price to pay. Yeah, it's not great, and I'm not saying that I'm there necessarily. I still have about 85 plus pounds that I want to lose, but come on, that's amazing. So that's my word for the day, I guess. Hope it encourages some of you. I'd love some feedback regarding whether or not you still struggle with head hunger, or some of you who are recently post-op have the same thing where you just nothing seems right. I'm not talking about nausea, like not being able to eat because you're nauseous post-op. I'm talking mainly about just the focus, how you lose the food focus. I do not believe that I did not believe that I could ever be set free from that. But I am right now, and for now I'm enjoying this phase and hopefully going to be using it to my advantage to lose some weight. So best of luck to all of you. Hope you have a great week, and keep the videos coming. They really are encouraging. And I did update my obesity help website with some 6-week pics. I'm down a couple sizes, so that's good. And hope to talk to y'all soon. Take care. Have a great day.